Boom! We are live. Hello, boys and girls. It's so nice to see you. I hope you are having a lovely day. Hopefully you're not in Beirut right now. They are not having a lovely day. And hopefully many of my Lebanese brothers and sisters are doing well. It is a rough day in Lebanon. So, all right, we are here, and this is what I do, and we are doing it live once again. So, this is my YouTube page, Mox News, and this is your Wake and Bake News at 7 p.m., and I'm your host, Moxie. So I hope, again, you are all doing well. We have the people in the streets in Louisville, Kentucky, and they are marching down that street. We have people dancing in the street in Los Angeles. We have Coeur d'Alene, Idaho, I believe, in the house, and Chicago and Portland and Seattle and everywhere else that matters. We'll keep an eye on it. And we have lovely drone video from Craig and Sam flying the drones. We can watch that for a minute. It's so much more relaxing, isn't it? Just checking out some nice drone video over the beautiful Puget Sound. Anybody else ready for a bong hit? I have not had a bong hit all day long. All day long. All day. And I'm ready. I'm ready for a bong hit. If you're ready for a bong hit, simply follow me and do exactly as you see. Let's see. What do we have going on? Oh, we have this show thing that I'm doing. We're doing this show every Monday through Friday at 7 p.m. Pacific time until whenever. We have a fuck ton of clips. I have like 14 clips ready to go for you. We have the lovely drone video. We have the protesters protesting. We have life in the modern day world on the verge of another world war. Right? And during a time of plague, right? We can't let a catastrophe go to waste. And we have hurricanes, and we have tidal waves, and we have earthquakes. This is making out to be biblical proportions, ladies and gentlemen. I'm telling you, if you're not tuning in, if you're not checking out what's happening right now, well, good for you. Because what's going on and what's happening around the world is crazy, bizarro world, right? Where, they're just, the whole thing, like this amazing, inspirational, species of humanity is on the brink of destruction. And it's an amazing sight to see. Right? I mean, we could be making happen anything we want. And instead, we're wasting billions and trillions of dollars on stupid shit like going to Mars. Instead, we're wasting trillions of dollars on stupid shit like war. Instead, we're wasting trillions of dollars on stupid shit like building more weapons of war, more nuclear bombs. Speaking of which, you guys see what happened in Lebanon today? Okay, time for a pup. Whoa, 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 whoa! What a bong hit it was. Nice. All right, so we have all these interesting things going on. I have video from Lebanon. I have video from the East Coast hurricane uh, leftovers. I have video from Seattle defunding the Seattle police. I have video from uh, uh, back to school fears. I have video about teens saving a sheriff. In case you guys didn't see that last night when I posted that. Which was really kind of a cool video. I was glad to see that. Okay, so, and I'm going to go ahead, and this is a call-in show, so if anybody wants to call, the number is 805-669-6397. Again, we do this every Monday through Friday at 7 p.m. Pacific time, so if you're new, you want to make sure and subscribe and hit that notification bell, okay? Because that way you won't miss out on anything. There are over 11,000 videos on this one Mox News YouTube page. So if you are new, you're going to want to take a minute and take a good look around. There are many, many interesting things to find. If you are a seeker of knowledge. If not, you're probably not going to think very highly of this page. Speaking of which, we have the new Mox News face mask available. So if anyone is a seeker of knowledge, you get knowledge is free. Is that right? Knowledge is free. Knowledge is free. Which is what it says on my business card. Because that's the way that it should be, right? So if you're looking for, and if you are looking for a face mask, because again, apparently these things aren't going away. This one is by far the most comfortable one that I have worn. Is washable, and it seems to fit my face pretty decently. So if you're interested, Craig's got a URL. He'll throw it up in the chat. We also have the other Mox News face mask. We also have let's see, what else we have. Oh, we got Mox News t-shirts. Craig's been working on all kinds of stuff. He knows you guys love merch. At least that's what he's being told. We love merch. So he's got a Mox News t-shirt. Again, knowledge is free on the back. And he's got some other designs online too. And this is available in many different colors also. So you can take your pick. And let's see, what else do we get here? Let's see. Oh, and we're trying to get $10 in donations per show. Now, I know it's a lofty goal. I mean, but you gotta reach for the sky, right? So we're trying to get. Yesterday we did not make $10. We did at the end of the show make $5, which was awesome. One of my Patron subscribers kicked down $5, which is very nice. Thank you very much. And then, but if you'd like to help make that goal, achieve that goal of $10 a day per live show, it's easy to do. There's clickable links in the description box of this video, or you can go to moxnews.com. Or also I have clickable links in the chat if you want to just click on one of those links. It's very simple. It should take less than 2 minutes to put a little pizza money in my bowl, and it's greatly appreciated. I would not ask if I didn't need it. If it wasn't going to make a difference, I wouldn't ask. But it makes a big difference, because right now we're not making $10 a show. Like I said yesterday, $5, which was awesome. Thank you. But it'd be really cool if we made $10 a show. That would really, really make my life better. So much better. You have no idea. You have no idea. So so if you want to help out with that, that'd be awesome. Other than that, again, we have the Lebanon explosion. I want to do that video for you because it's very important to see. But I don't want to rush it, but it's I guess we can take a quick look. Let me see. I want to play. I'll play a short video. I have one from ABC News just a moment ago, where they were talking about the Lebanon explosion, and I want you guys to look at this explosion really hard if you can, and understand this looks wrong.
Explosion, buildings destroyed, at least 60 dead, more than 3,000 injured, and those numbers are expected to rise right into the night. And just before we came on this evening, President Trump said this looked like a terrible attack, in his words. But what authorities in Beirut are now saying about early clues of a cause. Here's our senior foreign correspondent, Ian Pannell, tonight.
This was the moment an entire city shook to its core as a massive explosion erupted in Beirut port. The blast occurring around 6 p.m. local time. Eyewitness video showing a fire and a series of smaller detonations. Unconfirmed reports suggesting perhaps fireworks. But what happened next was far bigger. A devastating explosion, sending a mushroom cloud across the city. The fronts of buildings ripped off, cars, shops, apartments shattered, the streets showered with debris for miles around, as bloodied and shell-shocked citizens staggered through blackened streets. Hospitals are overwhelmed with casualties. The Lebanese health minister saying scores are dead and thousands injured. The healthcare system already overwhelmed by rising COVID infections and an economy in freefall. Tonight, the questions begin about what caused the blast and who's responsible.
Just unbelievable pictures tonight. Ian with us from London tracking this. And Ian, President Trump, as I mentioned, just said, quote, "It looks like a terrible attack." We know that other U.S. officials have called this a horrible tragedy. So what do officials in Beirut say right now was behind this blast?
Yeah, well, David, firstly, they're not suggesting that it was an attack. It's now pointing towards being just a tragic, terrible accident. The country's interior minister saying that highly explosive material may have been stored on the site, even pointing towards ammonium nitrate, which is highly combustible, often used in bombs, and in sufficient quantities capable of causing this level of massive destruction. David?
All right, Ian, our thanks to you tonight.
Okay, so, and I wanted to make sure you guys knew about this in case you hadn't seen it yet. I have numerous other clips of this, and I'll be posting more and more as the day goes on. Again, like I said, you want to make sure you're subscribed and hit the notification bell so you don't miss out on anything, because I do post clips all throughout the day from time to time, depending on what's going on. So this is incredibly suspicious, especially since there's been all this activity going on the border, on the southern border of Lebanon, for some time now, for a good month. And there's also been similar attacks, excuse me, mysterious explosions in Iran. Lots of them. At least 5 in the last 2 months. Not as big as this. This was huge. It's very, very sad. Very, very unfortunate. I can't tell you how much my heart goes out to the people of Lebanon. As I've said again and again in the past, I wear a Lebanese flag everywhere I go. I'll go get it in a minute and I'll bring it and I'll show it to you. I wear a Lebanese flag everywhere I go. And the people of Lebanon are my brothers and sisters and always will be. And again, this is a live call-in show. So if you would like to call, the number is 805-669-6397. 805 is this thing on? 805-669-6397. Maybe I need to get my mouth closer to the microphone so you can hear me properly. Let's see. Okay, so if not, I have more videos to play. And again, we have Coeur d'Alene, Idaho in the house. We have Portland, Oregon in the house. We have Coos Bay, Oregon. Awesome. We have Coos Bay, Oregon in the house. Fuck yeah. I went fishing in Coos Bay, Oregon when I was 16 years old. Private boat, with some friends of my dad and my dad, and I caught like 5 salmon, right? 5 salmon that day. It was a good day. Except they were drinking, what the fuck? They were drinking Canadian Club whiskey and Fresca, Diet Fresca. And for whatever reason, I had a couple of sips of that, and the next thing you know, the boat was going like this, right? It was going whoosh. I mean, it was pretty big water, right? The boat was going like this. I was just like, bruh! It's a really pretty good day up till then, and then I just completely lost it, which was sad. I mean, I don't think I've ever been sick like that before. Well, no, I got food poisoning one time. I was sick like that. But man, I just lost. I couldn't do anything. 16-year-old, I was just like, all I could do was lay down and try and sleep. And finally I fell asleep and I felt much better. But God, dude, I felt horrible when I woke up because I puked all over the place on people's happy day. Shit, drink Fresca and Canadian Club. Are you fucking kidding me? Oh my God. What do you think that's going to do to a 16-year-old? All right. So, and we have Louisville, Kentucky in the house also. You go Louisville. And Chicago, I don't know what's happening in Chicago, but people are dancing in the streets of Los Angeles. So, and I have lovely drone video. I'm going to go back to the drone video because I think it's just nicer. I think it's just easy video to relax and enjoy. Let's see. Right? Ah, the drone video. So, let's see. What do we have? I'm going to play another video, I suppose. Again, I have, lots of videos. I have a video, again, if you didn't see this last night when I posted, I thought it was pretty cool, and I will show it to you in case you missed it, because, again, I thought it was kind of cool, although I somewhat feel sorry for these guys, for some strange reason.
The King County Sheriff's Office is honoring 5 young men tonight after they came to the aid of one of their deputies. Isaiah and Dominic Sansaver, Tyran Powell, Kai Tavares, and Daryl Swilly were each given the Medal of Heroism by King County Sheriff Mitzi Johanknecht for their actions that quite possibly saved the life of a deputy. On July 18th, the off-duty deputy was driving home when she was flagged down in Auburn after a crash involving a suspected drunk driver. And while questioning the suspect, he put her in a headlock and started squeezing on her neck. Well, that's when those 5 teens jumped into action, saying, "Get off her," freeing the deputy from the suspect, even holding him down so she could handcuff him. And thanks to those brave teens, the deputy is okay. The suspect is charged with assaulting an officer and DUI. So that is an award well earned.
Absolutely. Well, tomorrow.
New at 11, the King County Sheriff honored 5 teenagers as heroes tonight after they helped a deputy who was being assaulted. The Sheriff's Office says on July 18th, Deputy Elliott was off duty when she was flagged down in Auburn after an intoxicated man caused a car crash. When the man tried to leave, Deputy Elliott tried to arrest him. They say that's when he put her in a headlock, choking her. These 5 teens were able to pull the man off the deputy.
Stand on her behalf to you again, thank you. She believes, and I believe, had you not been there for her on this day, that she might not be alive.
The teenagers were given the Community Heroism Award. It's the highest award a civilian can receive from the Sheriff's Office.
I don't know, maybe I felt bad for him because they just got to stand there with the cops, you know. They probably had to spend like a couple hours with those cops, making sure they got their photo op just right. You know, I think they're awesome people, you know, to help someone in distress. I I just feel bad for them for some reason. But you know, whatever. Congratulations, that was job well done, guys, and you deserve whatever good things you have coming your way. Okay, so and make sure and stay hydrated. Along with eating a proper amount of cannabis daily, which you'll have to decide how much that is. I'm not here to tell you how much a proper amount is, but I would eat as much as you are comfortable with. That's what I would recommend. Okay, so again, this is a lovely video from this weekend that Craig shot. He's getting pretty good at the drone video. I think we're gonna have some amazing stuff here real soon. We gotta find. I really want to find a traffic area with some boats. He seems to enjoy filming the boats. I like filming stuff that's moving. So like when he does the trains and stuff like that, it looks freaking awesome, right? He's going a little bit fucking Wizard of Oz on the colors, but whatever. He says he likes it like that. I want it to pop off the screen. His video. I want it to pop. I want it to pop, baby. I want it to jump out at you. Artist. Okay, so let's see. And it was a lovely weekend in Seattle. Look how beautiful. White fluffy clouds off in the distance. Just a little breeze on the water, cooling everything down, making it so nice. Right? Right? What a life. What a life, ladies and gentlemen. Oh, I'm having this weird thing go on with my marijuana plants, right? So like a marijuana plant, okay, so are you listening, Wilco? A marijuana plant, a leaf, right? My leaves look like, right? Leaf is like a 5-pointed thing, right? This is what a leaf looks like, right? Hello, caller.
Michael.
It's a different phone number?
Yeah, we got a different phone number. This is Drunk Pete
No.
from Rhode Island.
No.
Michael.
No.
We got... What? Who? Huh?
You can't hit the high notes, man. I know it's not Pete. Pete hits the high notes, dude.
All right, well, give me another shot real quick. Okay, so... Michael!
No.
Michael!
See, you can't do it. You can't do it.
Damn it. Failure. God, I wish I could be like Pete.
Better luck next time.
Who?
Better luck next time.
Hey, Drunk Pete. I swear to God, I've been trying to work on your new vocal style, and I don't think I can do it, man. You know, you're one of a kind, bro. You're like one of the people that I, look up towards for trying to do epic, vocal technique and stuff like that. It's really, utterly amazing. So, Drunk Pete, if you're out there, I miss you. I miss you, bro. I love you. I love you with all my heart. And, for God and Latter-day Saints.
Okay. And he's gone. Whoever that was. Okay, so, it's always good to hear from Drunk Pete. That was not Drunk Pete. But it's always good to hear from Drunk Pete, that's for sure. Okay. Okay, so as I was saying, I have this marijuana leaves, right? One of my plants, and it just started happening, right? So the marijuana leaves, right, is like a 5-finger leaf, right? 5-finger leaf, right? And what's happening is, for some reason, this leaf has its own stem, and these 2 leaves have their own stem, and these 2 leaves have their own stem. They look just like a marijuana leaf, but the stem splits. The stem splits like this. And it's freaking me out, man. I can't figure out what that means. That's something new that I've never seen before. And I don't know what to do about it. So if anybody has some suggestions on how to, on what that means, I would really appreciate it. Because I don't know what it means. I don't know what it means. Oh, are you telling me there's too much? I'm giving it too much of the bottle stuff? Is that what you're saying? Just doing what the instructions say. They look really happy. This plant is 30 days old, and it's like this fucking big, man. It's going to outgrow the tent. I'm expecting it to go like 100 days or so. Maybe 110. But it's going to outgrow the tent. I actually don't expect it to go 100 days. Probably going to go 90 days. It's... Yeah, they're autoflowers. It's an autoflower. But it's never done that before. I've never seen this, where the stem splits, right? Okay, so you got a 5-fingered leaf, right? And the stem splits so that these 2 leaves and these 2 leaves have a stem, and this one leaf has its own stem. It's freaking me the fuck out. I'm like, what the fuck is this? Oh, now I gotta go take a picture, and I gotta send it to the people at the forums and say, what the fuck is this? See, I think you're thinking of my father. My father was CIA, and he never did anything on camera, and was not real big into cannabis. I, on the other hand, chose a different path than my father. And would not change the path I have chosen at all. Otherwise, we wouldn't be here right now with sharing this moment, most likely. So I would hate to have missed that, Dan. Oh, we're going to go look at that sailboat. Let's go look at the sailboat. This is Craig's favorite part. He's like racing, trying to get out to the sailboat. And he puts it in sport mode. And he goes, murder hornets coming to get you. Murder hornets. On the starboard bow, murder hornets, incoming murder hornets. That's what I say. Every time the drone buzzes us, because it's a little bit loud. It's like, yeah. Every time it buzzes, I'm like, murder hornets! Ah! I got Craig saying it now. He doesn't do that part. Nietzsche? What about it? What do you say, Nietzsche? No, I'm not getting a vaccine. I haven't gotten any vaccine since I was old enough to tell a doctor no. I have never gotten a flu vaccine, nor will I. Nietzsche. Huh. It's not Fukushima. Feed it good water. Not Fukushima. Not a Tuma. All right. Let's see. Play a video. Okay, we'll play a video. What video should we play? You want to see another video about the Lebanon thing? I'll play another video about the Lebanon thing. I'll be right back. Because this is the story that needs to be talked about and watched closely. Oh, look at this video, though. Look how pretty this is. I don't want to skip this part of the video. It's so pretty. It's so pretty. Isn't it so pretty? Look how pretty. It's so pretty. What a beautiful day. I love this place. I love living on the water. So I always feel a little bit like I'm missing out on something because we don't have a boat. You know, and there seems like there's so much stuff that goes on the water here that, and when you're on the water, it's like a completely different perspective than when you're on land. It's like there's, you just see things from a different angle, I guess. And, you know, so I feel like I'm missing out on something, but it's not a big deal. I mean, I have this amazing life, so why would I care about missing out on a little this or a little that? Although, I'm sure we will be spending more time on boats sometime in a not too distant future. Something tells me. Let's see. Okay, I can play more videos I'll play a video in just a minute. Hold on. What video do you want to see? You want to see the marijuana cures addiction video, the COVID relief package video, the hurricane aftermath video, the back to school fears video, or you want to see another Lebanon video. I got another Lebanon video, and protesters disappointed in the Seattle police chief. Really? Just starting today, huh? Okay, so I will play another video for you here about I'm gonna play election update. Here we go. Election update. Is that it?
Today, we're just 91 days away from the general election on November 3rd, and both the president and Joe Biden are making their pitches to suburban voters.
President Trump says Joe Biden wants to destroy the suburbs, while Biden's team introduces a bold new housing plan. Sinclair National correspondent Atra El-Nashar shows us how their strategies are playing out.
In Joe Biden's America, you and your family will never be safe.
President Trump claiming to be the law and order candidate, hoping to keep the support he got from suburban voters in 2016, when according to exit polls, 50% of them voted for the president and 45% voted for Hillary Clinton. Suburban voters in swing states like Michigan, Wisconsin, and Pennsylvania played a large part in the president's 2016 victory. This time around, the president's suburban strategy includes painting a picture of what he says the country will look like with Joe Biden as president.
And American families will be at the mercy of the violent left-wing mob that you've been watching on television.
In his attempt to appear tough on crime, President Trump got rid of a law aimed at preventing racial housing discrimination and segregation. President Trump says those living the suburban lifestyle dream, as he calls it, will no longer be bothered by low-income housing. And HUD Secretary Ben Carson tells Sinclair that in many ways that law was a burden.
In many cases would be hundreds of pages long, require you to hire lawyers and various consultants, and then prove to be ineffective.
Biden is taking the opposite approach, pledging to bring the law back and make sure it's rigorously enforced, in addition to spending billions on new low-income housing in all areas, including the suburbs.
To recover from the economic mess we're in and to rebuild the economic future our country deserves.
Efforts to desegregate housing may play in Biden's favor as suburban counties become more racially and ethnically diverse, according to Pew Research.
We'll remove the barriers to home ownership that hold back too many Americans of color from a pathway to the middle class.
But housing is likely just a piece of what's on the minds of voters as the economy continues to decline and the end of the pandemic is nowhere in sight. Both candidates working to prove they're the one who can turn things around. In Washington, I'm Atra El-Nashar reporting.
Straight ahead.
All right, so we got cops on the left here in Portland, and they're looking at this person who appears to be dancing in the street. Not like fully in the street, kind of like in the parking space of the street, but the bike lane area. But they're watching. I don't know. It looked like he had a fishing pole in his hand or something. So we'll watch that for a minute. Coeur d'Alene, Idaho, still in the house. We got Louisville, Kentucky on a walkabout. And I do not know what's going on in Coos Bay. All right. So, again, if anybody wants to call, the numbers are 805-669-6397, 805 Mox News. It's a call-in show. We do this every Monday through Friday, 7 p.m. Pacific time. So, I'm going to go back to drone video. It's just much more relaxing. Gotta move myself to the other side of the screen for this drone video. Let's see. Let's see. They are all over the cars. Look at them up on the cars. Why are they running? They're running. Why are they running? Oh, they're not running. They're skipping. Never mind. They're skipping. They're not running. Good. Don't run. Don't run. Apparently you have the support of these people. Don't run. Wow, what a beautiful video. Good job, Greg. Very nice. And again, we are trying to reach a goal of $10 in contributions per live stream. So if we can reach this lofty goal, it will make a huge difference because we're not doing that currently. And if anybody wants to help out with that, there's clickable links in the description box of the video, or you can go to moxnews.com. It should just take a minute or two to put a little pizza money in my bowl, and that would be super duper duper generous of you. So thanks so much to those of you who do that. Hello, caller.
Hey, this is Daniel. This is Daniel. Hey, hold on. Hold on. I have really got something to tell you. Hold on. I gotta do.
Wait, Daniel the cunt?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, you can say it that way if you want to, but I don't have a cunt and stuff, but I have. You know, I need.
But you are a cunt. You don't have one, but you are a cunt.
Why? What?
I don't know.
What?
That's what you keep telling us. You're such a cunt. You always call in and say, "I know I'm a cunt." I know. I'm just acknowledging what you. I'm making sure I'm talking to the right Daniel.
Well, I tell you what. If I'm a cunt and you try to call me a cunt, then I must be a cunt. But I'm trying to do a hit. I'm trying to do a hit for everyone. I'm trying to do this hit for the people. I'm trying to do a hit real quick. Can we do the hit? I'm smoking crack out of a can right now.
Yeah, I don't smoke crack, so.
Oh shit! We should really try it because I tell you what, if you smoke crack, I tell you what, you can talk all day long. You can talk about everything that you want to talk about because all this stuff that's going on is completely fucked and it's crazy.
Yeah.
Everything that's going on, if you are out there in the world, you can understand things more better with more drugs in your life. If you have more drugs and you are able to take drugs, you know, on a regular basis, that are drugs that are in fact the most drugs that make you just like want to murder people. And I shouldn't be at blame for this. We need to defund the cops and stuff, and what I'm saying is that in fact you know, I am like trying to defund the cops so I can like go out there and fucking like murder people and fucking just get them off. You know, we can just murder each other. We just protect each other. I need more of these drugs that I'm trying to get and stuff, and it's not happening. And I think that we need to go ahead and defund everything so we can get more of these and we need to start funding the pharmaceuticals and drug dealers and stuff, because I am in fact not like, you know, I'm not getting enough drugs right now. This is Daniel.
It sounds like it. Sounds like you're not getting enough.
I'm trying to just say,
maybe it's the wrong kind of drugs that you're
I
getting.
want my recognition. When we actually legalize all the drugs, and then I'm able to get all the drugs for all the stuff that we've ever done before in our lives with all the articles and stuff, and that I should be able to actually be an anarchist and then tear down everything that I want and be doing drugs, and then all drugs that I want to do currently at the moment.
Okay. Well, that seems like a good plan. I would go with that if I was you.
Fist bump. I tell you what, I love fist bumps. People that do fist bumps and stuff, like, you know, I feel like that we're doing a fist bump right now, currently at the moment. Just like all out epic fist bump. We're going to legalize all drugs, and we're going to get rid of all the police and stuff, and we're going to I'm going to be able to do as much pharmaceuticals and drugs and stuff as I want to, and get drunk and fucking stoned, high, and whatever I want at the end of the goddamn day.
Good plan. I would go with that if I was you.
I'm telling you, that's the plan that I'm currently going with at the moment. Just, you know,
freedom, baby, freedom.
Freedom to get drunk and fucking stoned and high as fuck because you want to, and, you know, wherever you live and stuff, you know, just if you do get drunk, then you need to get high and fucking stoned at the same time. I'm telling you, it's not something that you want to miss out on.
Right, but you know what? You know what's really interesting? If you just get stoned, you don't need any of that other stuff, so.
Well, that was mind-blowing. So, like, in fact, I can just get stoned. I don't need all the other drugs and
that's correct.
All that stuff.
That's correct.
Wow. I don't need to get drunk, high off heroin, crack, cocaine, meth, fentanyl, and all these, and then booze, and then all this stuff. I don't need to, like...
You just need to smoke a little weed, man.
Do a dab?
Just smoke a little weed.
Wow.
That's all you need.
Really?
Yeah, it's all the other things that make you want to do all the other drugs, like alcohol. If you stopped the alcohol and just did the weed, you wouldn't want any other drugs.
So alcohol is the gateway.
Marijuana is the gateway to freedom.
All right, well, I'll do it. I'll do a bong. I'll do a rip out of a can. Coors Light can for you. If anybody wants to donate, because this took a lot of money to actually make this can pipe currently, place some real flour in it. They'd like to do a $5 donation. And if they wouldn't like to do a $5 donation, I don't really give a shit, but we're going to do this. Coors Light, legit can pipe. We have it on sale now, currently over at moxnews.com. You can get your own Coors Light can pipe. Ladies and gentlemen, first time ever, Coors Light can pipe. We're doing it. It's a steamroller. Ladies and gentlemen, we're bringing back steam rollers. Oh, shit. Fuck. Lighter's not working. This is completely fucked. Oh, we're having... Oh, shit, the weed is spilling off the goddamn... All right, we're going to climb up the mountain. We're going to make this shit happen. We are doing this. We're doing it live, whether you like it or not. One more. Oh, shit. Mox News, Coors Light Steamroller. Ladies and gentlemen, you got to get yours. Get yours today.
All right. Thanks for calling, Daniel. It's good to hear from you. Glad to know you're still alive.
Thank you. I love you very much. This is Daniel. I just wanted to let you know how much I care about all of you people.
Gotta go.
I gotta go too.
Bye.
Bye.
Okay. So, I gotta go check on something. Here is a video about the hurricane aftermath on the East Coast. It looks kind of scary, actually.
This system is now a tropical storm. It's racing north across parts of upstate New York and into New England. So we'll have the current track for you and, of course, the damage. And so we begin with our chief national affairs correspondent, Tom Yamas, right here in New York.
Tonight, the winds, rain, and storm surge from Isaias taking lives, carving the East Coast, and hitting major cities in the Northeast as a powerful tropical storm. Trees down across New York City. This one killing a 60-year-old man in Queens. Strong and damaging winds from Isaias tore through parts of Brooklyn. A line of sycamore trees in this park split in half, the massive branches crashing down and crushing cars below. The heavy rain quickly flooding roads and trapping drivers close to Interstate 76 near Philadelphia.
They were scared, fighting because she thought she was going to drown.
Outside Washington, D.C., 2 cars with multiple people inside swept off the road, some clinging to trees, one on the roof. Teams rescuing them with rafts and an airboat. No one seriously hurt. And across the Northeast, multiple tornado warnings.
Hurry up, it's right here.
This funnel cloud spotted in Ocean City, New Jersey. And homes throughout this Delaware neighborhood torn apart.
But the really bad part of this area is this house right here. But the whole back house of the house is gone.
I saw the tree lifting up out of the ground. And at that point, that's when I saw the whole back of the house coming off of the property. First thought is, thank God that we're here. God spared my wife, and my boys.
Powerful winds from a likely tornado in Bertie County, North Carolina, flipping cars and splintering multiple homes. 2 were killed, 20 hurt. Tanisha Thomas was home with her daughter.
We made it in the bathtub, and I put my body over hers. That's when it hit. One day at a time.
Did you lose everything?
Everything.
East of Richmond, Virginia, homes knocked from their foundations. Isaias making a dangerous late-night landfall just north of Myrtle Beach as a Category 1 hurricane with sustained winds of 85 miles an hour. Those powerful winds drowning out our Rob Marciano on Carolina Beach. Plus, life-threatening storm surge flooding homes, burying cars in sand, and filling homes with debris. In Oak Island, North Carolina, residents riding out the ferocious winds and surging water in the dark.
House shook. First time I was in a house that ever shook.
Power lines sparking fires on Ocean Isle Beach, multiple homes engulfed, thankfully empty as most had evacuated.
That's just incredible. Let's get right to Tom. He's live in Brooklyn tonight. And Tom, we can see that partial collapse behind you right into the second floor of that building. But I know you were telling us earlier there was another major worry today with these high winds as first responders were still out there answering calls.
That's absolutely right, David. So the winds picked up here in Brooklyn. This building collapses. The firefighters rush in. They realize nobody's inside. That's the good news. But then they also realize the winds are still picking up. This could all be projectiles. They shut off the block. Luckily, nobody was hurt here, David.
Yeah, that is always the worry with debris. Tom, thank you. Of course, all of this playing out as hospitals treat patients in this pandemic, as families try to stay safe, and now millions are without power as we head into the night. And right here this evening, the moment, the explosion from down power lines in the middle of our reporter's interview, illustrating the danger as we head into the night. Stephanie Ramos from New Jersey.
Look at that. Hurricane Isaias spawned water spouts along the Jersey shore and brought with it wind gusts of over 100 miles an hour. We started feeling it in Cape May, New Jersey, just after 9 a.m.
That washing machine feeling, that's what we're in right now. It actually just calmed down in the last 5 seconds, but the wind, the rain, the sand just really whipping around.
Those winds knocking down traffic lights, trees, and power lines, putting more than 3 million in the dark across the storm zone, more than 1 million just in New Jersey.
Should you have to go out and come across a downed power line, please immediately report it to emergency services.
Someone reported this sparking line, and while we were interviewing emergency manager Jerry Enderwise, it exploded. No one was hurt.
This is basically a result of the storm. Power lines down, causing fires and explosions in the neighborhood.
That's correct. So you saw what can happen.
Tonight, hospitals up and down the storm zone that were dealing with the coronavirus are now dealing with this storm too. These coastal communities, no stranger to powerful storms and all kinds of weather emergencies. But this time, it's different.
To say this is not an easy endeavor in the midst of a pandemic would be the understatement of the day.
David, the city manager, tells us electrical teams were delayed in getting to this area because of damage across this region. The governor of New Jersey says that is the challenge they're seeing all over the state. These crews will be here through the night and into tomorrow until power is fully restored. David.
All right, we're just glad you were standing a distance from those power lines. A good reminder for everyone as we head into the night. Stephanie, thank you. Of course, this storm is still on the move at this hour. So let's get right to Chief Meteorologist Ginger Z with a late track. Ginger?
That storm just raced up the East Coast so fast today, and I want to take you straight to the map because there are still tornado watches out for parts of New England, including Massachusetts, New Hampshire. You can see some of the moisture that has now moved almost to the Canadian border, so that's going to be gone in the next couple of hours, but the winds are still gusting behind it, anywhere from 30 to 60 miles per hour, so you're still going to have that from Boston up through Massachusetts into upstate New York. We're going to be keeping an eye on that, and of course, the timing of it all, we're going to say goodbye to Isaias by tomorrow. David?
Yeah, good riddance. All right, Ginger, thank you.
All right, so I love this outfit the guy's wearing with the red, white, and blues, the stars and stripes there. It's awesome. Let's see. So, again, we have protesters, and, you know, this is going to keep going on. It looks like it's pretty chill everywhere. Nobody seems too tense with the situation tonight, which is good. And we have lovely drone flying video from Sam and Craig. Lots of different cool stuff. That's the city of Seattle, in case anyone's wondering. Let's see. So I have lots of videos. I'm going to just get through these videos if you guys don't want to call, because it's very nice out, and the dogs are looking at me like they really would like to go for a walk. So, not that we didn't do a walk already, which we did. We did a nice walk already. But, you know, that's what they live for. Adventure. They live for adventure, I'm telling you. Man, when we went to the restaurant on Saturday, they were so happy. Rufus just wanted to say hi to everybody. I'm like, no, sit. No, sit. And he's very good at being in the restaurant, but like all these girls are making goo-goo faces at him, right? They're like, ah. And he's just like, ah. Because that's the kind of guy he is. He wants to say hi to everybody. He knows he makes people smile. And he's kind of like, that's my job. I got to go say hi to these people. And he did say hi to a couple of very cute girls. Like I said, it was a very good weekend. The dogs were very happy. But they still want adventure. Even though we went earlier today, they'd still like to go for more. So, hello, caller.
Hey,
What's
I just got back from the store. A 26-year-old was trying to tell me why I should wear a mask and get the vaccine when it comes out. It's like, well, at least there's public dialogue, you know. It's like he didn't try to kill me or anything, but yeah, I just got home.
And you didn't try to kill him either, right, Michael?
No, I just tried to
Good.
I tried to assess his education level on the matter, on the medicine of this COVID-19, and he knows some things, but he's not a person that knows the narrative is controlled by the media, and that he is subject to a mind control program called the media. So he doesn't know that he literally said, I don't believe all those conspiracies out there. So he really doesn't know there's such a thing as conspiracies. But I was just assessing his after I got done talking to him, I asked him his age, and he's 26. He's smart for a 26-year-old, but it's like, God, we're in a culture war. It's literally a war for the soul of planet Earth, in one way or another. It always has been, even before this COVID thing. But I just tuned in. I have no idea what you've been doing, but I know the slogan for the Mossad when I see it. So
how many people you think know that? Because nobody's mentioned it so far.
How many people know the slogan for Mossad?
Motto, yes.
Not very many. But if you compare that slogan, by deception thou shalt do war, to the Air Force motto or the Navy motto, the Air Force motto is something like fly high, aim true, and the Navy motto is keep going until the end, and never surrender, and the Army motto is like, the Marines is like Semper Fi, always faithful. And the Army motto is like, we plod on until the end, or something like that. At one time, I memorized, or at least learned, all the different Navy, Marine, Air Force, and Army mottos, but I can't remember it right now. But I don't know how many people know that the Mossad motto literally states their intentions in a clear, perfect, and honest way. We will deceive you, and we will wage war on you. By way of deception, thou shalt do war. So in other words, we're going to get under your carpet, into your cat. We're going to bug your fucking toaster. We're going to record your conversation.
Jeffrey Epstein.
Yeah, Jeffrey Epstein. So I got no idea what you've been talking about, but I just got home. I got in a way I'm a traitor, because I bought Starbucks double shot espressos on sale.
Huh.
And I always tell people to boycott Starbucks because they're an Israeli Zionist company. But so I'm a hypocrite, Mike. I'm gonna pop this motherfucker open right now. Here it goes. Just like that.
Just like that.
Espresso. So, I'm not sure. I saw various videos of the Lebanon thing.
Yeah, we're gonna have to watch that area pretty closely the next couple days.
I know there was a large cache of badly stored ammonium sulfate under the ground there. And I did see a video which didn't seem to be doctored, which it was either a bird or a missile coming into the already burning fire, and then the big explosion.
Mm-hmm.
But it was, people were saying that it was nuclear and everything. It was traveling multiple blocks per second. It was a really wide, expansive, but then it dissipated like vapor. And what do you got? You got, if I remember correctly, you got over 60 dead. It's probably up to the 70s by now, and 3,000 injured. I even saw a figure that said 5,000 injured. So it was a fucking monster.
Yeah, we're not going to know anywhere near how many people are dead for a couple of days, but
yeah, it was a monster explosion.
It looks like it just disintegrated like apartment buildings and shit.
Yeah, so it's a bad scene. I don't know if Mossad had anything to do with it. It could have been a pure. Never underestimate the stupidity of people. It could have been a fucking accident. But it very well could have been Mossad, you know. And you know me, I don't like Israel, but until I see evidence that it was Israel, I'm not going to call it like that, you know. But what did I say? 60 dead. That's a major event, dude. Plus 5,000 injured. I don't know how badly they're injured. It probably ranges from broken arms to burns to your eardrums being blown out, you know, or shattered glass or something like that. So it's not a pretty picture in Lebanon. It looked pretty fucking flattened to me.
Yeah, it looked like there was a crater to me.
Yeah. So what's going on in the world, man? I'm just chilling. I just got home.
It just, you know, just steps it closer, a step to, you know, craziness. I don't know. I mean, we see what's going on. You know, it's like you said. I'm not here to say this is those persons or this doesn't appear what it looks like. All I'm saying is this is what happened and this is what we know so far. So, you know.
Yeah, well, what we do know is that Israel pulled off a false flag event, 5 days ago. It fired on its own soldiers, you know, nearby its own soldiers.
On the Lebanese border.
Right, on the Lebanese border, and blamed it on Lebanese Hezbollah fighters, you know, and if anybody doesn't know, Hezbollah is located in Lebanon, and it has backing from the Iranians. Palestine is Shia. Lebanon is mostly Shia. Iran is Shia. That's why the Sunnis in Saudi Arabia want to destroy Palestine. Is because it's like the Catholics and the Protestants arguing with each other over who knows God the best, who's in the God club. So the Sunni Shia thing is so fucking whacked out of. From what I've been able to see over the last 10 or 12 years, the Shias are much more peaceful and they get along and they're not so brutal like the Sunnis. The Sunnis in many Middle Eastern states subjugate the Shias, and they consider them second-class citizens without the rights of a Sunni. So when you get, I'm not quite sure. I think the Sultan of Turkey, what's his name, Erdogan, I think he might be a Shia too. He seems to support Palestine quite a bit, so I'm guessing he's a Shia, but I don't really know. He's kind of like a non-secular industrialist president. You know, he really loves Islam, but it's not a radical form of Islam. They don't wear veils and masks and shit, and they're definitely in the 21st century, but so is Saudi Arabia. I mean, the fucking African nations, if you got tanks and guns, you're in the 21st century. Everybody's pretty much in the 21st century, except that one tribe in that one island that shoots arrows at planes that fly overhead, and a couple tribes in the Amazon.
We're not in the fucking 21st century, okay? The last video was about a hurricane hitting the coast of the United States, okay? In the coast of the United States, and all these there's like millions of people without power, okay? If we had a 21st century infrastructure, we wouldn't have these fucking issues from having wires strung from pole to pole like it's the 1830s, okay? This is a bunch of bullshit. Anybody who thinks we're living in the 21st century is deluded.
Well, I gotta agree with you, but I'll correct myself. We are we have 21st century technology without 21st century infrastructure, for sure. We can't even get our fucking conversations correct on virology or microbiology or, everything we do is wrong as a race. We're so divided, and people are expendable. If you think the government, any government, cares about you or your lives, you're crazy. You would be in flying cars by now if the government cared about you, and there would be no pollution.
Craig had a story yesterday about what state was it, Craig, that was they just passed a law to legalize or make roads accessible for flying cars in one of the lower 48.
No shit.
Yeah, I think it was like Connecticut or New Hampshire or something. He's looking it up.
Like hovercraft, or what kind of flying car?
Like the kind of cars that you could tuck the wings into the inside the plane somehow, or inside the car somehow, and drive it on the road. It's basically, the wings come out of the car and extend, and then you can fly.
You can take off.
Yeah.
Holy shit! Wow. Yeah, Craig told me he put a filter on your video there. That's why everything looks so blue. But it sure is pretty, dude.
Yeah. He wants the colors to pop, baby. Oh, he's got the New Hampshire. Here, I'll show you. What's he got here? New Hampshire. Yeah. First state to allow flying cars on the road will be New Hampshire.
Boy, I bet you got some good fishing off the coast where you're at, dude.
A lot of people fish here. I can tell you that for sure. I've never fished here, but a lot of people do, and they seem to make it almost like a lifestyle. Like they love fishing here,
Boy.
Oh, the Jetson Bill. That's what the law is called in New Hampshire. The Jetson Bill.
Meet George Jetson, Jane, his wife, their dog. I can't remember their dog's name.
His son, Leroy.
Yeah.
What was the dog's name? Astro? Was it Astro?
Astro, yeah, you're right, yeah. The fucking Jetsons, man. Some things that were good that came out of the 70s, Even Dennis the Menace. I want to start a band called Dennis the Menace because that's the best name ever. Dennis the Menace.
I like Butthole Surfers. I think that's the best name ever.
I think that's a little bit too specific. That's more information than I was looking for, Mike.
Love those guys.
I don't even know who. I mean, I know there's a band called the Butthole Surfers, but I don't know what they do.
Oh, shit. You're missing out, dude. That's some good music.
I'll bet.
That's some good music.
What is it like?
It's kind of punk.
Grunge?
It's very punkish. Yeah, punky grunge kind of stuff.
Yeah. People underestimate the effect that the punk rock movement of the 70s had on global culture. It was a legitimate rebellious movement against all social structures, and
there's a documentary called Decline of Western Civilization. The Decline.
Yeah, you told me about that.
Yeah, it's fucking great, man. It's got Circle Jerks and X, and Black Flag, all these fucking misfits, all these just punk rocks, and legends, and all this footage from like the 80s, the early 80s and stuff. It's really worth watching. I've watched it many times. It's pretty fucking amazing.
The whole history of rock and roll is like one of transition from, like the blues to Elvis, and then you got rock and roll, and the English influence on rock and roll music was so gigantic. No one in their right mind could ever deny that the English,
the British invasion was amazing.
Yeah, I mean,
there's a movie called Pirate Radio. It has I don't know, some British guys, and I don't know who all has it. I can't think of it right now. It has January Jones in it. I know that. I love January Jones. But it's called Pirate Radio, and has such a great soundtrack, dude. If you haven't seen it, it's all about this boat that sat off the coast of Britain, and it was just out in international waters, just far enough to where they could broadcast whatever. And when nobody else was broadcasting rock and roll, they were blasting it, right? And it's just a very, very good movie.
Yeah, I think the point I'm trying to make is that throughout all of these different phases of what we call rock and roll, from Chuck Berry and Elvis to Motown to the English invasion to all the West Coast Haight-Ashbury psychedelic stuff and the Beach Boys, and then into grunge, into the big hair bands, into rap and hip hop. Every single movement, in rock and roll has had extremely legitimate intellectual players, performers, and songwriters and artists that all of them, no matter whether they come from the hip-hop streets of New York or they're coming from Bromley or London or someplace like that, they're addressing social issues. So if you don't understand that rock and roll in all of its forms is habitually and continuously addressing social issues, just like any other section of society you can mention or remember, you don't really know what rock and roll is about. I think Neil Young said, he said it in that song, rock and roll will never die. There's more to the picture than meets the eye. I think that's what he was talking about. It's just the fact that all these people from all of these generations are really saying, fuck you to the man, and we want more, we want it better, we want justice.
This is the story of Johnny Rotten.
Fight the power, fight the power. In whatever way you want to say it, from whatever, it could be grunge, it could be even a big hair band could write a great political song, and I don't have a lot of respect for big hair bands, but, it's a beautiful, beautiful art form. And, you go back to even before Nina Simone. Nina Simone, she wasn't that long ago, and she was, strange fruit hanging from the poplar trees, talking about black people being lynched and hung up from the trees in the South. Go way back to fucking Benny Goodman and Nat King Cole. Every single artist is, in one way or another, addressing social problems in the world, including Africa, including,
art is almost always a political thing.
Yeah, it's the one weapon we have against corruption, and they've burnt books, they've banned records, they had steamrollers running over fucking Beatles records because John Lennon spoke the truth one day out of the top of his head, and he said, the Beatles were more popular than Jesus. Then all of a sudden everyone in the South is burning Beatles records. It's crazy, man. Nixon had it out for John Lennon. He wouldn't even, he had the FBI following John Lennon everywhere he went. So, it's a wonderful, wonderful art form, and I really respect, I like Roger Waters because he just addresses systemic problems so well in so much of his songs. And I like John Lennon. I guess I'm kind of old school classic rock kind of dude, but I respect the hip hop and rap guys too. If they, if they're putting out good songs that address social issues, fight the power, niggers, NWA, a lot of Brown Fellinis. There's lots of. I'm no hip hop guy. I'm so illiterate in the area of hip hop and rap that I shouldn't even be talking about it. But there's lots of good artists, even in Eastern Europe, talking in Russian and Slovakian and Transylvanian.
Yeah, I think we're gonna see some really good art coming out of this movement right now. This whole time right now, because they say like the hardest times produce the greatest art.
It's true. It's true, and most of the greatest artists never make it. There's great art being produced right now in a dirt floor studio in North Africa, and you might not ever see it, but it's great art with great people. And revolutions produce great art for sure. And we're in a revolution, dude. So I'm waiting for a good this. I don't even know how to address the medical tyranny we're under, but
I'm waiting for fucking South Park, man. I think South Park will probably know how to do it. I'm really looking forward to that. Where are you guys? Where are the superheroes of South Park? We need you.
Yeah, well, I'm getting a lot of flack from people who call me a conspiracy theorist, and I'm spreading false information, and I keep telling them, well, tell me what's false, and they can't even address one single issue. So it's getting so serious, I'm not even going to try to educate the people who don't want to be educated. I'm just going to move on and keep doing my thing, and the majority of people are going to be left behind. But we have a potential here on planet Earth right now to actually, if we keep up the pressure, to actually move the veil back a little bit more so people can see, yeah, maybe our governments don't have their shit together. Maybe they're not acting in our interests. Maybe they're acting in the interests of the elite and the rich, and they would fuck us over in a heartbeat to make an extra couple K for themselves. And the whole thing, including vaccines from the very beginning, and the connection between the illegalization of marijuana and the rise of the pharmaceutical giants is totally connected right there. It's like, so you're on the right page, man, as far as marijuana goes, because it's no coincidence that they suppressed excellent drugs and excellent plants, indica and all that stuff, and then started forcing chemicals on the population.
Right.
It's like, so we're on planet Earth, and planet Earth is really fucked up. So I'm just doing my part, but fuck, man, everybody's got an opinion.
And there is nothing that can replace the cannabis. People don't understand. This is meant to be a daily part of humans' lives. We're meant to be ingesting the cannabis plant on a regular basis, whether you're ingesting the THC part of it or not, the psychoactive parts of it or not. You're still meant to be eating it. And because we're not, I believe this is a big part of why we're having a cancer epidemic, why we're having a dementia epidemic, why we're having Alzheimer's, but so many things wrong on this planet. And anybody who knows what the plant is and what it can do and understands the endocannabinoid system, you know that this is the answer, and it's being kept from us as long as they possibly can. And for what reason? For what reason? You have to ask, for what reason? And I think it's for more than just making people rich. Well, but that's the pretty motivating force right there.
Well, right now with
I think they also want us sick, and stuff like that too. And again, because if you're not getting this herb, this essential herb to humans, because we see people desperately searching for herbs and vitamins and different fucking supplements to try and make this 21st century, modern world diet into a proper human, whatever it is they need. And the biggest thing that's missing from the list is the cannabis. I'm sorry, go ahead.
Yeah, right now with this popular, mostly American movement to either totally or partially legalize. Of course, I'm in favor of total legalization. there are corporate forces with big money that want to jump on that movement because it's an unstoppable movement. They want to control it, and they want to be making money off it.
Right. Well, the best way to keep the corporate at bay is a total decriminalization, not a legalization. You know, where they make it like a fucking like alcohol. You know,
Right.
not like that, where they just take all the fucking laws off it. No laws longer exist on cannabis. Okay.
I agree.
And then it becomes this amazing untapped resource, which which would blow people's minds what could be done with it in the first 10 years, let alone 100 years from now, because it's this easily renewable resource that can do it can replace so many fucking products that are currently polluting and destroying our planet. Fuck.
Well, I ran in. One of my renters today came up and paid rent. It was beautiful, man. Finally.
Yeah.
And
Congratulations.
And he told me a story about how his father-in-law is getting dementia, and he goes out and mows his lawn in the nude. I said, well, what does he do? How do you know he has dementia? He said,
right.
Well, the neighbors are complaining because he goes out and mows his lawn with no clothes on, and then he stopped at a gas station and he took a leak, and he walked out and his dick was hanging out, and he got arrested, and then we had to bail him out of jail. And I started immediately telling him, you got to get that guy to eat cannabis because his brain will pop back immediately.
Yeah.
And you'll increase he won't be demented anymore. He'll be lucid and aware. And I told him, you guys got oil. Just go bake him some cookies and give him a fucking cookie. And
right.
So that's just one example. I mean, all kinds of dementia can be definitely cured by eating marijuana. Even if you just
I think that's the reason it's happening in the first place.
But I thought that was a funny story of. Usually dementia is a little less conspicuous than that,
Yeah, I guess. But yeah, that's definitely having an issue, no doubt about it. That's not gonna turn out well if you don't find a better path.
Yeah, it's like, well, I kind of think that madness has been with the human race a long time. There's been mad and crazy people in every culture and every age and eon, and so yeah, we can decrease the madness in our country if we eat and smoke more marijuana and decrease the disease. So I just want us to all pull through, and there's so much potential to turn the planet around, and we might be on the verge of it. But we're on the verge of something. We could go downhill just as easily as we go. All it takes is one little kick, and the whole planet is fucked up. Look
all it takes is one little vaccine booster shot.
Yep.
And the whole world starts to drool.
Yeah. I don't know. I got my weed. I got my fucking double shot espresso.
Yeah, it could be worse.
Yeah, I'm doing okay. The weather cooled down to about 85, I think. So
that sounds pretty sweet for Southern California, man.
Yeah, the garden. As an outdoor gardener, I could tell you without fail that your plants fucking bolt in a heat wave. They can grow a foot in a day in a heat wave.
All right, okay. So I have this question. Okay, right. I have this thing going on with one of my plants, right? And they have like 5-finger leaves, right?
Right.
Okay, so 2 of the fingers on the outside each have the stem, when it comes up to form the leaf, is splitting and putting 2 of the fingers on the outside, giving it a separate stem, and the one middle finger is giving it a separate stem. So it's winding up with 3. It looks just like the same leaf, but the stem splits, and then the leaves, it's freaking me out, dude. It just happened. I don't know what's going on.
You're talking about a 1-foot tall plant, right?
It's about, maybe a little taller than that.
And the plant that I saw you had on your show the other night, you called it a desk plant or ornament plant. That I noticed it hadn't been topped at all. You didn't cut the top off of it.
It's an auto flower. I'm not doing that with the auto flowers.
Oh, I don't know why. You get a few extra buds if you top it.
I'm new, and they say not to do that with the auto flowers. Some people say, I don't know, say it's a myth not to do with the auto flower. I'm still figuring out the auto flowers. I'm going to top the other plants. I have a couple of photo periods going. I'm going to top those in the next day or so.
Okay, because I always top my plants, sometimes twice.
And you're growing auto flowers, right?
No, I'm not growing autoflowers.
Okay.
I'm growing my own strain, a giant fucking.
Okay, no, I thought you said
plant.
you were growing like 37 different autoflowers or something.
No, I never got a good source on the autoflower, but maybe next year I will.
Yeah.
But yeah, it just sounds like normal plant division. I don't know why it would freak you out that a plant would grow an extra stem off of one of its other previously existing stems, you know.
Well, it's freaking me out that I haven't seen it before. That's why it's freaking me out. And again, it's a stem splitting into 3 stems and giving the middle finger of the leaf its own stem, giving the 2 fingers on the right its own stem, and giving the 2 fingers on the left its own stem. It seems like a very strange thing that I have never seen before. So.
Without any cutting and without any damage, it's doing this of its own genetics, right?
It just happened, yeah. And I grew this plant last summer, and it didn't do that. I did not see it do that. So
I won't worry about it, dude. Maybe you're literally talking about just getting more buds. That's all.
Okay, well, it looks happy. I'm not overly worried about it. It's just something weird that I haven't seen before. So it's freaking me out.
Yeah,
I mean,
you've
just
got
a little
no
bit.
white hairs yet.
I'm new.
Right?
I'm still new.
So yeah, I mean,
it's I think it's the female is showing its female sex, but it's not like giving me a bunch of white hairs. No.
Yeah. So I mean, it sounds like you're still in veg state, and I don't really. I'm no expert, but I don't really care if they're autoflowers or not. Top your fucking plants and at least get a few extra an extra ounce of weed out of it. You know, that's my policy.
Yeah, again, I'm going to do that with the photo periods. We'll get there with the autoflowers. I'm not ready to do that with them yet.
But it's a beautiful fucking hobby, huh? Isn't it fucking worthwhile?
I love my garden. I really like going and just being in the garden. I mean, even like right before the show and stuff, I'll just go and I'll just sit for a minute and look at the garden, you know.
They got a vibe. These plants, these marijuana plants, they got a vibe that is different from other plants. Like you could sit next to a rose bush, try to commune with the rose bush all day long, and the most you're going to get is a nice aroma. But when you're surrounded by marijuana plants, there's like a really subtle vibe, and it has nothing to do with getting high or anything. It's a plant kingdom vibe, you know. I don't even know how to describe it, but there's something magical about being in a marijuana garden, whether it's a tent garden or a literal forest of marijuana. It's a beautiful, beautiful thing, and
Yeah.
I wish everybody could experience it, you know.
Yeah, I always thought that if I, you know, if it was to become legal, that it would be great just to have a couple of plants growing in the living room, because you know, or wherever, but in the living room in particular, because it's just such a pretty plant, really, you know, and like you say, it gives off this vibe, you know.
Yeah.
And I don't know.
You know, imagine if it became legal, you would have 57 different shows on, you know, Jimmy's Marijuana Adventures, you know, and they visit all these gardens, and they have beautiful video, and you have all the experts talking, and connoisseurs, and food, and chefs, and, you know, smoking, and just excellent portrayals of this very unique and diverse plant that we're talking about. It's just a plant. Doesn't even qualify as a drug. It's just a fucking plant, you know, flowers and leaves. And, you know, I miss my hemp clothing. I used to have hemp clothing. I don't have a single hemp item anymore. And I really want hemp clothing because it's the most comfortable, durable clothing I've ever known. You know, it's beautiful too.
Yeah, this is what I'm talking about when I say this amazing, incredibly easily renewable resource, you know, that anybody can grow basically, and it's completely untapped. You know, we haven't even begun to like, make it part of the industry and such. You know, to make industries out of it, but even explore what all could be done with it in the 21st century. You know, it's and it's just it's a crime that it's not, that we don't have this pure. It's so clean. All these other resources are not nearly as clean as this. That's the whole point. And it's not so much that we'd have this clean thing, and it's just ridiculous the way we are living now, and what we could have. And I really think this is the bigger point with the people in the street. I really do. I just think that they're like, we have to do better than what's happening now.
Yeah, I mean, they're going to be telling us we can't grow our own tomatoes soon. For some reason, there's a certain segment of the population that wants to control the rest of the people, and it's about time we stood up and had common sense. Like, your parents were wrong. There's nothing wrong with marijuana. Your parents were wrong. The government is corrupt. If your parents happen to know the government was corrupt, you have a unique upbringing, because almost everybody's parents were mind controlled. You have to go to war. You have to obey the law. You have to get a social security number.
Well, you don't question the police. You don't question the government.
Yeah.
You don't question the military. What's wrong with you?
Yeah, the congressman is respectable, and you better go to college so you can become like him. It's like, who the fuck would want to become like the congressman we got today, or yesterday for that matter? Look at Lyndon Johnson. That was one crook right there. But, yeah, I mean, it's no secret that the world is corrupt, so I'm kind of used to it. So I don't know exactly what to do, but I know you got to stand up. Now's the time to stand up. Now's the time to not be partisan, and science is not politics. Number one with the COVID thing, science is not politics. You follow where the science goes. If hydroxychloroquine is a proven drug, and it is proven, then you go ahead and you take it as a prophylactic, and fuck the people who are saying it's a bad idea. So don't. Politics it's a magic trick, but science. If you have a scientific method and scientific mind, concerning the COVID-19, we will get through this. They never should have locked the planet down. The consequences of locking the planet down are going to be 10 times worse than all the damage from COVID-19. So if you're not standing up now and saying no, the magic word, no, I don't have to obey you. No, you're not my boss.
No, you're not going to vaccinate me.
Yeah. So that's what I'm doing. I mean, I feel like we're in a really critical time, and I'm saying no to a lot of people in a lot of different ways. It's like, man, now's the time to stand up for yourself and for your country and the people of planet Earth in every way possible. All right, Michael, I'll watch the rest of your show, dude. I'm kind of talked out.
Okay, we're gonna go. I'm gonna go take a break. I'm gonna take a picture of the leaf so you guys can see what's going on, and maybe tell me if you have actual advice.
Oh yeah. Go ahead and do that. It's a beautiful video, Craig. That's a really good video, dude. Very nice. I'll talk to you guys later.
Okay.
Take care.
Bye. That's our buddy Michael from Southern California. I am going to play a video here about, I think it's important again to check out this Lebanon thing that's happening. So I'm going to play a video for you about that, and I'll go take a picture of the leaf so you guys can see what's happening. So you can eye it yourself. Hold on. Be right back.
Beirut is reeling from the aftermath of a gigantic explosion that has left at least 25 dead and thousands injured. The blast was felt dozens of kilometers away and has caused severe damage in several parts of the capital. Lebanon has declared a day of national mourning for this Wednesday. Thank you for joining us here on France 24. It's now been about 4 hours since a devastating explosion rocked the city of Beirut, and authorities are still trying to assess the damage. But from the pictures we've been seeing all evening long, it appears large swaths of Beirut have sustained severe damage from the blast that took place in the city's harbor. According to preliminary reports, the explosion was caused by highly explosive material that was seized years ago and stored at the harbor. At least 25 people have been killed and thousands injured. But of course, those numbers will continue to change throughout the evening and overnight. The Lebanese Red Cross has issued an urgent appeal for blood donations. And in a TV interview, the president of the Red Cross said health services have been overwhelmed by phone calls. Here are some reactions from the street of Beirut.
Can you tell us what happened to you?
My car was down there. It rolled over. I think this was because of the glass. The glass cut me up and my car was like that.
I don't know what happened. I was fishing, I heard that there was a fire, I turned and started to head home and I heard something explode. And then this happened. I got injured. That's all I know.
Joining us on the phone now is France 24's Nadia Massi. Nadia, you were a former correspondent in the Lebanese capital. No doubt your heart and mind are in Beirut tonight. What's the latest you're hearing?
Yeah, Wasim, I think the most important thing to emphasize right now is just the sheer scale of the destruction in Beirut today. This is an explosion that took place at Beirut port, but it appears to have shaken pretty much every part of the city from east to west. I was talking to somebody a short while ago in Hamra, in the west of the city. They're saying their entire apartment block appears to be no longer functioning. Talking to somebody on the other side of the city, in the east of Beirut, quite far away from the port where that explosion took place, saying the entire facade of their building had come in. That place also no longer safe for people to live in. Hospitals absolutely overwhelmed tonight. Several hospitals, St. George Hospital in Jetawi, one of them, that don't have electricity at the moment. I've seen some images on social media of doctors treating patients in the car park of hospitals because the situation inside is so bad. As you said, there's a call for blood, urgently needed blood donations in some hospitals as well. And, you know, these images this is footage we simply haven't seen in Beirut since the civil war. Entire streets destroyed, windows knocked out on almost every floor of buildings. I think it is really hard tonight to emphasize just how serious this is, and I imagine there are very few families, very few communities in the city that have been untouched by what's taken place.
Nadia, we were speaking earlier on the phone. You told me how significant it was that this explosion happened at the city's harbor and how much of an important role it plays in not only Beirut's economy, but the entire country's economy.
Yeah, that's absolutely right. Beirut port is crucial. Lebanon imports lots of its food, lots of its wheat products, and lots of its meat by boat. The port in Beirut has been decimated. You will not be able to import food by boat to that port in for a very long time, certainly not in the coming days. And this really couldn't come at a more difficult moment for Lebanon. Lebanon is in the throes of a massive financial crisis. Its local currency, the lira, is losing value against the dollar almost every day. Food prices are rising. People who consider themselves middle class are struggling to feed their families. A few weeks ago, the Lebanese army said they couldn't afford to feed their soldiers meat anymore because meat was becoming so expensive. So it really just feels like this is a real kick at the time where Lebanon absolutely doesn't need it. It's going to be very difficult, I think, to import food, to import basic medicines as well in the coming days, with the port clearly absolutely out of service for the moment.
Does this sort of beg the question of how Lebanese people will be able even to feed themselves, maybe not in the next 24, 48, 72 hours, but maybe in the days and weeks to come?
Well, look, Wasim, there were already questions before this absolutely catastrophic incident today about how poor Lebanese families were going to feed themselves in the coming weeks and months because of the scale of the economic crisis there. It's clear that this is going to make those questions even more difficult. The Lebanese government is going to need to respond to this far more efficiently than they have done with previous crises in the past couple of years. But I also think Lebanon is going to need real international support now. We've heard words offering support from the United States, from the UK, even from Israel, as I understand it. But I think Lebanon is going to need material support now. It's going to need financial support. Otherwise, it's going to be a very difficult rest of the summer, and I suspect a very difficult winter as well for many Lebanese families.
All right, France 24's Nadia Massi reporting there on the phone for us. Thank you very much.
Wow, that was close. I thought we froze up again. I was like, oh no, what happened? Okay, so we got Portland in the house. We got Seattle on the march. Look at Seattle. You go, babies. We got Louisville, Kentucky, dancing, dancing, dancing. Oh, yeah. All right, and we got a picture. We got a couple pictures. Craig took a couple pictures, so I'll put those up in a minute for those of you who are wanting to see what it is I'm talking about. Again, partially the reason that I probably am having, besides it being a weird thing I never saw before. Hello, caller.
What's up, dude?
Just doing this thing that I do. What's up with you?
I was looking at this explosion that happened in Beirut. A lot of people throwing a lot of controversy out there.
Really sad,
huh?
huh?
Yeah, man. I was telling my buddy at work, I was like, that looks like a fucking nuclear weapon going off.
Yeah, a lot of people seem to feel that way.
Yeah, so I saw the controversy. I was operatives from Israel, and then I saw, it was some kind of a stockpile of weapons and ammonium nitrate.
Right.
And there's Hezbollah all over the place, all over the docks. I don't know what the case. I haven't seen any video footage of any military personnel. I've just seen emergency personnel, but yeah, I've seen a lot of footage from that. Wow. I couldn't imagine being next to it.
Yeah, no, it looks horrible, dude. A lot of people are gonna die. A lot of people died. I'm sure, we're not gonna know how many people for a couple of days, but a lot of people are dead.
Well, some people were saying when it first happened, that it was a fireworks factory. I thought that was bullshit.
I know. I think one of the reports I have says fireworks factory also.
Yeah, I don't buy it. Not with that kind of a blast. But now they're saying then it evolved to it was a seizure of ammonium nitrate from whomever. But who knows, man? It could all be true. It could have been a storage warehouse for Hezbollah operatives, Iran connections, a port to
a couple years ago, a ship blew up in China. You guys remember that? It was like a fucking giant explosion. A lot of people died. I think it was a ship. I'm not sure it was a ship or a factory.
No. It was in the port. It was I think it was Tianjin port. But what I went back and looked, yeah, that's a good point. There was also another similar explosion that happened north of the Ukraine, and the rumor was that was a mini nuke that went off. That was a warning to back when the Ukraine and Russia were getting into it. But what I started going back to was the one that happened in West Texas. I went and reviewed some of the video footage from that. And it was a very similar explosion. I mean, very similar explosion. They say
the factory that blew up there. What were those guys? Some kind of chemical factory blew up there, right?
Yeah, it was a fertilizer factory. They said it was ammonium nitrate that blew up there, and the thing about it is the same kind of rumors were happening because that factory, that fertilizer factory, was in some kind of litigation with Monsanto. So they think some operatives went in there. This was the conspiracy or the rumor at the time, and of course we never got it confirmed or whatever. It was just a rumor. They said some operatives went in there and started the fire and blew it up, and there you go, end of the litigation.
Yeah.
So,
and we know people do that stuff. So.
Yeah, so I'll tell you what, man. With the rumor mill and all the tom-toms out there, you don't know what to believe anymore. It could all they could both be true.
It's really hard to know where to get any kind of reliable, information. But I think I think it's worth it to look and try and figure out what seems right. The more information, I hate people shutting down information and saying, oh, well, this is conspiracy, not bullshit, which we keep seeing happen on the YouTube and other places.
Yeah, how many videos have you seen of that explosion that happened down there?
I've probably seen maybe 4 different angles, something of it like that. I haven't been watching it all day. It's very hard on me. I love the people of Lebanon, and it hurts me like you have no idea, man.
Well, there's a video on Twitter that has 7 different angles of the explosion, and one in particular, you see a guy, and he looks pretty damn close. You only see one building in between him and where the fireworks factory was burning, and the initial explosion. And the secondary, when the secondary happened, man, that repercussion blast. What's it called? The secondary blast. The shockwave. Man, I mean, you see him hit the deck as quick as he can, and that phone flies out of its hand, and then all you see is like debris and water. Like the phone, I think he might have been live streaming, and it made it to Twitter, but then it cut out like right as the phone hit the water. You could literally see a pool of water around that phone. That I don't know if that guy made it, man. 2 buildings back. There was also one where
look, I saw a lot of apartment buildings that looked like they were just disintegrated.
Yeah,
that's what I'm saying. It's very hard. It's one thing to find something you're interested. It's very hard sometimes to do this business. To be a newsman, and so to look at stuff like that over and over again all day long takes its toll sometimes. And I have to be a little bit protected.
Yeah, but why would they store that shit there for years? Some kind of seizure.
I hear you.
They're going to store for years.
I'm saying we're gonna have to look at this really hard for the next few days. It's gonna, there's gonna be a lot of discussion that needs to be happening about what happened there, and I think it will go on. Because it's a lot. I'm afraid we're not going to know how many people died for a few days, and it's going to be a lot of people.
Yeah, they're not going to tell us the real story of what happened.
Right.
It's just going to fade.
That doesn't mean that we won't have the discussion of what actually happened online. So you have to keep your eyes and ears open,
man. Yeah, I'm pretty sure it's just going to fade out of the limelight, and it's just going to be one of those forgotten stories.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know how, unless media can sell it to seize our guns or fit it into some kind of agenda to attack other countries, whatever those countries may be.
Right.
Unless they can fulfill an agenda, yeah, it's just going to fade out of the limelight if they can't fit it to some kind of narrative.
Yeah. What's your
name? Anyway, that's all.
What's your name?
Yeah, go ahead, man.
Who is this?
This is Todd in Wisconsin.
Hey, Todd, it's good to hear from you, man. Yeah, again, my heart really goes out to the Lebanese people, and we want to keep our eyes on this as a super, super important story, and a lot of shit that doesn't look right, like you're saying, Todd.
Yeah, I'll tell you what, man. If it was a Hezbollah storehouse, it's probably a good thing that it went. I mean, it's a shame that a lot of innocent people got hurt, but maybe they can't use it for attacks on certain countries or certain vessels.
Yeah. All right. Well, it's good to hear from you, bro. Call back soon.
All right.
See ya.
Peace out, homie.
All right. So, we have Craig. I don't know how to put that into where. Do you have it on a tab or something? Okay. So there's the problem that we're having with the leaves. Let's see. You can see again, it's a 5-finger leaf, and like the fingers on the outside, or the stem is splitting. You see how the stem is splitting, and the middle leaf is getting its own stem, or something like that. It's freaking me out. I've never used bottles before. I've always just used single ingredient organics. And I've never seen this before, so I'm not sure exactly what's happening there. And again, that picture right there, I put the seeds into the peat pot. I put the seed into the peat pot 32 days ago from today, when this picture was taken. 32 days ago, this is what the plants look like. And the only one who's having this issue with the stem splitting and the leaves doing their own thing is the one right in front here, which is the Nomo Atto, which I've talked about again and again. The big one, naturally, is having this issue that I have no idea what's happening and I've never seen before. But they look happy, right? Don't they look like happy babies? That's 32 days from the day I put the seed into the peat pot. And I didn't do like a paper towel thing. And I didn't put the seed in a cup of water overnight. I just put the seed directly into the peat pot. And that's what they look like now 32 days later. In case you're wondering. So we're all up to speed here. I have EB Stone Soil. Ultimate Recipe, EB Stone Ultimate Recipe Soil. The Nomo is in a 5-gallon bag, and I'm feeding them. I'm probably overfeeding them, is what it is. But I'm feeding them General Hydroponics Floral Series, which is a 30-year-old recipe that people have been using forever. And I just figured this is a common thing. Everybody knows this recipe. I can use this, and if there's a problem, I can ask what it is, and they'll know what it is I'm talking about. Oh, well, I never heard of those before, those nutrients. But this is the first time I've ever used bottles. And I don't know what that is. And I've never seen this before, where the center leaf gets its own stem as the other leaf, as the stem splits there. Freaking me out, man. But it looks good, right? 32 days. Those are all 32 days from the day I put the seed directly into the soil. I think they look pretty good. There's that one on the left is the little desk flower that we'll have to bring out here and put on the desk. And I fed them last night. Okay, so this picture was just taken. I fed them last night, and this is the first time that I noticed this thing where the stem is on the leaves is splitting. So I don't know what to think. If anybody out there has some advice, please let me know what it is so I can proceed. Oh, right. Let's see. Let's see. How do you move that? Previously. What does it say? Because I was afraid that the light was too bright. And I didn't want it to be so bright. It's about 2 feet above, maybe 3 feet above. I like to have space. I gotta go. This is tiny. It's tiny. In that little space. I gotta get in there. Growing ginger? Oh yeah, cool. That's awesome, dude. What do you put the ginger in? Hello, caller.
Hey, Mike, how are you doing tonight?
Hey, Chris. I am doing good. It's good to hear from you.
Thank you. I had an exciting weekend. Basically, from the moment I left your home, it's been a pretty interesting weekend. But it was a really nice night tonight. So it's like summer is in its prime in the Pacific Northwest right now.
Yeah, it's beautiful outside. The dogs are looking at me like, why aren't we going for a walk? It's too nice outside.
No kidding. So, Saturday was Lamas, and that is the midway point between the first day of summer and the first day of autumn. So it's literally the halfway point. This weekend was the halfway point, and we're halfway to fall. So, people around the world celebrated that. Pagans celebrated that. And whatever, just a little note. And I think last night also was the Sturgeon Moon.
I heard something about that. I heard a little something about that.
If folks got a chance to see the moon last night or the night before, I had an opportunity to eat, like, not very much, about a half a gram of psychoactive mushrooms of cupensis.
Nice.
Last night, and that was a pretty good experience. I waited until later in the evening when a lot of the energy around me had calmed down in my little community, and then it was just really dark and the moon was out, and it was a great experience. Always a positive experience. Not always, but it was a positive experience.
Right, hanging out outside, eating mushrooms is generally a very magical experience.
Yes, especially if you have questions that you want to ask the mushroom god, right?
Mm-hmm.
And since I don't eat mushrooms that frequently, only like several times a year, a couple times a year I'll eat them, I kind of sometimes feel like I have questions that I need to answer, right? And somehow or another, the mushroom god always shows up and puts things in a different perspective that helps you answer questions. And I like that. It's a form of therapy.
I always feel like they're little capsules of knowledge. You know what I mean? Like they're there to explain whatever it is you need to know, kind of.
I've been fortunate enough to meet Paul Stamets like twice. I lived with his son for a year or two, and also I got a chance to hang out at his facility in Shelton, Washington, where Fungi Perfecti is based and where he grows all of those mushrooms. And I've always found mushrooms to be amazing. They decompose the forest and they provide food for animals and people. And psychoactive mushrooms, I don't know. You speak about the endocrine system with marijuana, but I do believe there's something very deep with psychoactive mushrooms. In those cave paintings in France, there's some scientists believe that those were influenced by people who were under the influence of mushrooms. They would go into these caves and light the torch and then, use charcoal under the influence of psychoactive mushrooms and start seeing different things. So they've been with us for a long time. And on that note,
I could imagine, being being in a dark cave and just having firelight to see from and tripping on mushrooms, that you could probably see some pretty interesting things to paint.
Yeah, I think that is the first church. I really do. If we want to talk about these religious places where people go, I think that those caves, because if you do a little research and you read some articles about these caves, they actually have to walk very, very far and crawl on their backs and go very, very far into the cave before they actually draw these things. So it's almost like a ritual, like almost like the very first church place where you go with a ritual to do so. Even before that Göbekli Tepe in Turkey, which is like the transition 12,500 years ago to an agricultural society. And that's considered kind of an open-air church, a structure, maybe the first church. But I think that the cave paintings are almost mystical, and I think they're associated with mushrooms. But there was an article, I want to reference this, from marijuanamoment.net, and it was posted 6 hours ago. And it says, Canada is going to allow terminally ill patients to use psychedelic mushrooms for end-of-life care. And this is kind of a big deal. It's only 4 people, and they have terminal cancer, and they're basically going to be given these the psilocybin mushrooms as a form of psychotherapy treatment to help them address the question of death. But it's the first time, and this is a quote, it says, the approvals mark the first publicly known individuals to receive a legal exemption from Canada's Drug Substances Act to access psychedelic therapy. And the therapist said, it's the first medical patients to legally use psilocybin since the compound became illegal in Canada in 1974.
Wow.
All right. So the government of Canada just said that psychotherapists who are dealing with terminally ill patients, in this instance, apparently it's a study, but they're going to allow them to use these drugs. And I think that's a good thing. It's a positive thing. And the therapist who's running the study said it's a positive result that is possible when good people show genuine compassion. I'm grateful that I can move forward with the next step of healing. So they're going to use the mushrooms to help people overcome their fear of dying. And, my mom died of cancer, and I spent the last 3 or 4 months with her when she died, and she was using, I can't even describe the amount of opioids that she had in her medicine cabinet. It was like, OxyContin, oxycodone, various milligrams, just tons of opioids that they were feeding her to kill her pain, And I understand that, and I'm totally into people using opioids for compassionate care. But I do wish that she had been open-minded enough to maybe take 1.5 grams or 2 grams of mushrooms in a controlled environment before she died, so that she could have a broader perspective of things and not be so fearful of the reality around her. And that's what these people in Canada are doing. So I salute them, right?
That's awesome. I want to point out that you said that the mushrooms became illegal in 1974. And
that's right, in Canada.
Yeah, and I want to point out that until that point, for hundreds and thousands of years, mushrooms had existed in exactly the same places in Canada. And all of a sudden, somehow, mushroom, this natural resource, again, was made illegal basically for the sole purpose of persecuting people and keeping good medicine away from people. Good, safe, accessible medicine. You don't have to have $10,000 to eat mushrooms,
No, or grow medicinal mushrooms either. I mean, like this guy, Paul Stamets, who runs Fungi Perfecti, his business is he sells spores, he sells product of mushrooms. His whole thing is mushrooms, right? Mm-hmm. But if you're interested as like a cultivar, like, you like to grow herb, other people like to grow medicinal, mushrooms like lion's mane or like shiitake, shiitake mushrooms. Yeah, and I see it in the same kind of vein. It's the same approach to like life, like they're using these plants instead of relying on pharmaceutical companies. I talked with my little brother the other night, and we have the same problem. When I went to the doctor, I was told I have high blood pressure, and he also told me that he recently was told by his physician that he also has high blood pressure, but that it was so high that they needed to give him medication like immediately because he was just having really high blood pressure. And, I told him I was hesitant to do that because I don't want to be taking medication for the rest of my fucking life. that's given to me by a pharmaceutical company. And I know a lot of listeners and a lot of people, there's nothing they can do to avoid that. But if at any cost, I would like to avoid that. And I see these plants and mushrooms as ways to maybe deal with illness in a different manner than using the pharmaceutical company and the oil companies, to try and just give me a pill that'll solve my problem without me having to look at the problem from a natural perspective,
I hear you, man. When it comes to cannabis, it's so much more than just medicine. I mean, we're talking about feeding millions of people and, fueling cars and building homes and it's just fucking endless.
Fiber, yeah, and
Yeah.
getting rid of plastic. At the very end of at this article, it does mention some of the other initiatives in the United States. It says that there's an initiative in Washington D.C. right now that'll allow voters to decide in the fall whether to decriminalize plants and fungi-based psychedelic drugs, and then it mentions that a decision on whether an initiative will make the ballot is expected later for the week in the D.C. And then it says in Oregon, voters in November will consider a measure, so it's on the ballot, that would decriminalize all drugs and expand access to treatment. And so there's two initiatives. A separate Oregon proposal would legalize psilocybin therapy, the same therapy sought by Canadian cancer patients. And lawmakers in Hawaii earlier this year approved a plan to study psilocybin mushrooms' medical applications with the goal of eventually legalizing access to the therapy. So, obviously the most liberal places, Washington, D.C., Hawaii, Oregon, so on and so forth, the same suspects, in ways, are breaking ground. So hopefully this is going to catch on, and even conservatives who have medical problems could maybe be open-minded enough to accept the fact that psychoactive substances aren't harmful if they're used cautiously and properly and safely, just like you would do anything. When you get in a car, you could smash your car right through the shopping center every time you go to the store, but you don't, right? You don't, because you've taken precautions, to stop you from doing that. And I think that people's attitudes towards psychoactive drugs is similar. It's like not everybody is like an axe killer just because they choose to experience an altered state of consciousness, which really scares some people.
And to me, it just sounds so much more compassionate, right? To legalize all drugs and expand treatment availability. I mean, that's what, or just to decriminalize or whatever, to stop fucking making people into criminals because they're using a substance, Somehow, whatever it is that they got caught up in using, however it happened, that's where they're at now. That doesn't make them a criminal, and it's disgusting that this society has done that for generations and generations now. And clearly, we've seen how well it's worked. So I love that it just seems so much more compassionate to me to say, no more having to fucking ruin people's lives, and hopefully by not doing that, we'll make all these other resources available, and we'll make it so that they can get help, just like they should. I'm not the people necessarily, but the option should be, to get help or continue your life. It's fine. That's what you choose. That's what you choose. But not to make them again this horrible, no future life, because if they have an option, maybe at least they'll be able to think about that. If they have a safe option to get off, because drugs, the thing about drugs is one thing I can tell you for sure is once you have to draw blood in order to use your drugs, it's no longer recreational. It becomes much more like a job, and I guarantee you, people would rather have different jobs than that. Go ahead, Chris.
Yeah, it's a dangerous job too, because if you're buying things on the street, you don't know what you're putting into your bloodstream. So it isn't even safe. It's not safe even if it becomes mandatory. But I was going to say that I really hope that the youth, and I think I might have some hope in this or some reason to be hopeful, that the youth of today are not going to be as judgmental as, say, our generation, and I'll say like Generation X or like baby boomers were previously. And our culture definitely judges people in so many different ways. Like, if somebody is a heroin addict, they're called a loser, right? In the mind, and the media promotes that concept. Just like they promoted the idea of people who were stoners, back in the 80s and the 90s. Oh yeah, these people are like out of it, right? Being a message being perpetuated by the media until, of course, they can make some money in the market after it's been legalized, and then some of those stereotypes go away, but they shift to other drugs. Now it's like, if you do meth or something, you're a loser or something. I'm not encouraging people to do meth, but I think, I don't think it's really fair to say anybody is a loser, and it's really easy in our culture, which strives, it's competitive, and we really like prize our possessions and our individuality, and who are we as I'm an individual, damn it, and therefore we're like competing with other people, and it's very easy to, just point your finger at somebody and say, that fucker is just a loser, and then list all the reasons why they're a loser. Generally because they're poor, by the way.
Poor has a lot to do with it, because if somebody's using meth and they're rich, they're not very often looked at as a loser. They're just doing that so they can have that competitive edge.
You also mentioned about like romantic relationships a week ago or something, about how it's, if you only make like, say, $800 a month or something, it might be challenging for you to be able to afford to, entertain another person who's accustomed to living a middle class lifestyle.
Well, not even that. I mean, just entertain anybody. If you're living on $800 a month or less, you don't have extra money to entertain. There is no entertaining, and that's you don't buy tickets to go to concerts. This is for fucking rich people and middle class people. That's not for people who live on $800 a month. So
no, it is not.
Yeah.
There was something. There was one thing I did want to mention that wasn't in any news article that I saw listed on TV, but it's from an Idaho newspaper, the Idaho Statesman, which is a Boise paper, and the article says tiny plastic particles are piling up in Idaho's wild places, according to this study, and basically what the study talks about is the amount of microplastics that the scientists found at Craters of the Moon National Park or National Monument in Idaho, and other places that she visited. And the point is that these microplastics have been moved by weather systems, by the rain, and by the wind, and they now are all over the surface of the earth, including in very remote places. And this is from the article. It says, with all the sites, I picked remote wilderness and park areas of the western United States where we tend to see dust deposition occurring, specifically trying to see how dust deposition might vary across space and time. And she found out that there were something like 8 tons of plastic over time that are just in these real fine layers over miles and miles and miles of this park. It says she found 100 metric tons of microplastics. This is like shredded nylon from clothes, micro beads from plastic that breaks down. 1,000 metric tons of microplastics fall per year in the wilderness areas she studied. About 8 metric tons of that will accumulate in the 1,000 square miles that make up Craters of the Moon. So every year, 8 metric tons of little pieces of plastic just spread out over this 1,000 square mile area. It's going to be there forever.
It's going to be everywhere forever. It's a plague, and again, it doesn't make any sense. We can do so much better than this shit.
And so what that affects. I looked at some other articles. I won't quote them, but that affects animals It affects, land animals, like little voles and moles and squirrels, little critters like little mammals. It affects,
It affects
fish.
everything in the food chain.
It affects birds. Yeah, and then it affects humans, of course, as well. But it affects all of these other animals that had nothing to do with fucking oil or plastic. Like, they were here on Earth so much longer than we've been here, right? And we just kind of willy-nilly, in the last 50 years, said plastic's cool, plastic's great, everyone use plastic, it's very convenient. And now
Tupperware is the container of the future.
Tupperware? Yeah. Tupperware is the future. That's right. And that bullshit was promoted for 50 fucking years. Like that line from The Graduate, the future's in plastic. That guy. He was telling the truth.
Yep.
So, but in a sarcastic way. So I just wanted to point out, and there was another thing. There was that oil tanker. Do you remember there was that oil tanker off the coast of Yemen that had been sitting there, and it had been decrepit? It's still there. I heard this story in July, about 3 weeks ago, and then I didn't hear any follow-up from it. So I did a little follow-up today, and this was the original article. It says, oil spill from Yemen tanker would be 4 times worse than the Exxon Valdez, and it's in the Red Sea, right there, where the Red Sea kind of bottlenecks right there on the edge of Yemen. And it says that it has the safer contains 1,148,000 barrels of light crude oil, and it's actually, the boat is falling apart. Wow. There's water in the control room. The hull is rusted, and it's filled with oil. There's water in the oil, and it's been sitting in the same place for 7 or 8 years.
Yeah.
And because there's a war in Yemen, they haven't been able to deal with it. And the Houthi government controls this part of Yemen. So there was an article from just 2 days ago that said the United Nations is still waiting for Houthi approval to visit the decaying oil tanker off of Yemen. And this is from Reuters. It says, the UN said on Tuesday it was still waiting for Yemen's Houthi group to authorize deployment of an assessment team to decay an oil tanker that is threatening to spill 1.1 million barrels of crude oil off the war-torn country's coast.
Did you say million? Did you say million or billion? Because I thought you said billion.
1.1 million barrels of oil.
Okay, good.
And it's 4 times, to put it in an environmental perspective, it's 4 times greater than the Exxon Valdez, which busted up in Alaska and then destroyed, all of those pristine marine areas up there.
Yeah, no, that's when the Exxon Valdez crashed. That's when I quit driving. I was having nightmares. I was having horrible nightmares. I was just I can't do it anymore.
So this thing with the oil tanker, right, and also the story about the microplastics that are accumulating. To me, they kind of were linked to this ammonium nitrate story in Lebanon, because there's, the other night, Mike from Southern California asked me about Marx, and there's this idea in economics called negative externalities, and they're also called cost externalities. And what negative externalities are things that are not taken into consideration in the cost of production and the profits that are extracted. So somebody can sell something and make some money, right? Sell something and make some money, and everything seems to be cool. But what people don't recognize is, as they're doing this over years, right, they're also spreading microplastics all around the world, and they don't have to pay for that. So the oil company and the plastic company and the consumer and the distributor of plastic shit, they don't have to pay a dime to clean up Crater of the Moon National Park that just has all this microplastic across it. And it's the same thing. And it's the same thing with this oil tanker, apparently. They filled this oil tanker up. They didn't find a buyer. It got caught in some kind of war. It just got kind of stuck there for about 6 years, and now the thing is decaying. That's it's sort of symbolic of our industrial civilization that is like we make this stuff and we aren't able to take care of it. We don't even know what the fuck we're doing.
We act totally irresponsible with this incredible toxin that we produce.
So it wouldn't surprise me if the thing that occurred, the explosion that occurred in downtown Beirut near the port today, was some kind of malfeasance. And they just, the government wasn't able to manage their own shit and allowed it to blow up. Could have been an accident.
It's entirely possible.
Real accident. Yeah, and I could see that as a possibility. However, there's a lot of other things going on. Like, the U.S. has put sanctions on Syria, and Lebanon's economy is intricately tied to the Syrian economy. So any business in Lebanon that conducts business with Syria is potentially considered a terrorist organization or isn't going to receive any funding from the United States.
Right.
I also found out that the United States trains the Lebanese army, and we also give them $750 million a year in aid to support refugees from the Syrian conflict. In fact, the U.S. government is one of the largest contributors to the Lebanese government, despite the influence that Hezbollah has in Lebanon. So that's interesting. It seems like a very complicated place. And it's kind of a battle between Iran and Russia and the United States and NATO about who gets to control the ports and who gets to control the resources. So I don't know. It's a strange thing. Who knows what happened? I agree with the earlier callers. I don't know what happened. Oh, but the last caller was talking about Hezbollah. I don't think Hezbollah is evil. All right. I mean, I think that
if it wasn't for Hezbollah, the trash would never get picked up in fucking Lebanon and other places like that. They run the fucking government.
Yeah, and they defend and they help their neighbors like when they need help. And there's another problem here. Israel has committed war crimes in so many different ways. Like just every way under the sun. They have nuclear weapons. Nobody in the world's supposed to have nuclear weapons unless they sign this nuclear non-proliferation treaty. But Israel, nobody gives a fuck about that. They get to strike countries at will. They struck Iraq. I mean, with military strikes, they struck Iran. They struck Syria. They blow shit up in Iran. They do whatever they want, whenever they want, and they have attacked Syria within the last week, by the way.
And there's strange explosions going off in Iran for over a month now.
Right, but somehow or another, the United States government thinks Hezbollah is a terrorist organization, right? Mm-hmm. Can't let the Lebanese people or the Syrian people or the Iranian people or even the Turkish people, you can't let those people conduct their own affairs without, the U.S. government can't, without interfering. They cannot let them have their own autonomy because it could be dangerous. They could have their own resources. They could trade with China. They could trade with Russia, and we wouldn't like that, would we?
Well,
so we have to fuck everything up, don't we?
Yeah, I think that the vilification of China the last few bit has been that China is just trading too much with Iran. I think that they want that to stop, and until they come, act civilized or whatever, and stop dealing with those terrorists. No more soup for you.
Yeah. Well, those are the things I wanted to share with you, Mike. I agree with you about that, about the Americans freaked out about what I call it, and what I think Pepe Escobar calls it, is like Eurasian integration. So when Europe and Asia become a single continent of Asia, which it really is, if you think about it, Europe really is part of Asia. It's just the extreme western part of Asia, right? So if Asia was integrated and had an integrated economy all the way from Beijing to Lisbon and from London to Berlin to Moscow and all the way across Siberia, if that all was integrated as a single economy where Americans can buy shit from Jeff Bezos in Seattle and have it sent to distribution centers right everywhere, in the U.S. and so forth, right? Well, if Eurasians had that same kind of fluid nature of an economy that we have in North America, wow, that's what they're afraid of. They don't like competition. You know, this whole thing, this other thing about capitalism, right? It is more like monopoly. Remember monopoly? You get the most fucking money and then you humiliate everyone else at the table. Get the fuck it, loser. I got more money than you. Ha ha. Just like last time, remember? You know, you got to watch people be really fucking obnoxious playing Monopoly. That is really what it's more like. Because when you hear people defend capitalism, you know, they'll say shit like, well, hey, it's competition that makes stuff happen, man. But this isn't competition, right? What we're seeing isn't really competition. I mean, like in our own economy in the United States, it isn't like a fair playing field where you or I or anybody that you know have an opportunity to compete with these tech firms. I don't think so at all, man. It's a rigged game, just like the politics is. Did you vote today, Mike?
No.
I did.
Yeah. Good. I know Craig did too.
I tried. Yeah, I did. I only got a vote for about 6 races. I think there were like 10 races or 13 races, but I only got a vote for less than half of them because the other 6 or 7 races were just between Democrats and Republicans. But there were 6 races where there were independents running that I could vote for, so I did, including governor.
Yeah, I can't believe the fucking governor, man. The guy is horrible.
He's horrible, but you know he's going to get reelected, don't you? We both know that.
It sure looks like it. I don't know.
Unless,
it sure
like,
looks like it. I mean, unless they
unless we get
a
some
Republican,
like Epstein videos.
Yeah.
Epstein-Ensley videos. Okay, we'll look forward to the Ensley-Epstein videos. If you can find them for me of Jay Inslee in the fucking Caribbean with the bathing suit next to a 14-year-old. I'm looking for that photo. Craig.
Keep my eyes open.
Okay. And you guys have a great evening, and the plant is great. It's doing fine.
Awesome.
Everything is happy.
Yeah,
yep.
good.
And yeah, and I'll listen to the rest of the show. Thanks for taking my call, Mike.
Okay, Chris, it's good to hear from you. I'll talk to you soon.
Yeah, peace. Good night.
Okay, so I have a video here. We have Seattle on the move on this beautiful eve. We have Portland on the move in Oregon. So we'll keep an eye on that, but I am going to take a quick break, and the protesters in Seattle are disappointed in the Seattle police chief. So I thought you guys should know that in case you're wondering.
From the mayor's house to the homes of city council members, protesters are bringing the debate over defunding the police to their doorsteps. Over the weekend, they showed up at the home of Seattle Police Chief Carmen Best. Good evening. I'm Mark Wright.
I'm Joyce Taylor. So in a letter, she says that took things too far. King 5's Vanessa Mashanya spoke with some of those protesters tonight.
In a letter, Chief Carmen Best said the protesters who visited her neighborhood were aggressive, and if it weren't for the intervention of her neighbors, they would have trespassed and caused damage. Well, I spoke to some of the protesters there that night, and they say there's another side to the story.
We literally wanted to go exercise our First Amendment right and ask the chief of police some questions.
That's what members of the Seattle group Everyday March said they wanted to do Saturday evening when they went to Chief Carmen Best's Snohomish neighborhood.
Some of our protesters then exited cars to go see what's going on up there, and at which point they were met with neighbors who had rifles in their faces.
Out of here. There's a private drive. Get out of the road.
They never got to the chief because they said neighbors intervened, blocking the road and showed them weapons.
We tried to educate them and tell them it wasn't okay.
They tried to explain what they were doing there, but the people on the road refused to move. They left when they no longer felt safe.
We are from Seattle. We represent part of Seattle. So if you want to stick up for the people in that neighborhood, then go work for that county or whatever the case may be. Give up your position as chief of police of Seattle and go work there since you're sticking up for them.
In a letter asking for city council to denounce the protesters' behavior, Chief Best said these protesters were being aggressive and lauded her neighbors for deterring crime. Snohomish County Sheriff Adam Fortney agreed with Best, calling the demonstrations at officials' homes a bullying tactic.
You guys are coming out your house with AR-15s to confront a bunch of people in clothing, cotton, no protection, no nothing. So if that's, I guess, whatever, bullying, I would not say that. Holding you accountable is more like it.
The group says they want understanding of what they're trying to accomplish, not to destroy,
but to spark conversations.
We are not trying to just talk out and yell. We are truly here to have a conversation because the things happening in Seattle right now cannot keep happening.
They say they will continue to protest, continue to demonstrate until their demands are met. And speaking of those demands, Seattle City Council is in talks right now to see what defunding SBD would look like. And there's potentially a committee vote on that later on this week. In Seattle, Vanessa Mishania, King 5 News.
Vanessa, thank you. Only one Seattle City Council member responded to Chief Best's letter during a meeting today. And here's what Tammy Morales had to say.
I take exception to the response by our police chief, who celebrated that her neighbors met these young people with guns.
City Council member Dan Strauss has met with the loosely formed group, but today did not condemn their visit to the chief's home.
Puyallup police are sharing this photo on social media showing the words "Pig lives here" written in chalk on the street outside a police officer's home. Puyallup's police chief posted a response on Facebook saying the officer whose home was targeted previously served in the Army and saw law enforcement as a way to continue serving. Chief Scott Engel went on to say in his post that police officers cannot do their job without support from the public.
All right, and this is what you get when you respond to the people in such a manner, is you get more and more people marching down the street. Marching down the street. Okay, if anybody wants to call, the number is right there on the screen. It's 805-669-6397. I have a couple of more videos left for you all to see, but I wanted to make sure you saw that one. I did post it earlier, but I thought it was a very important video to understand, again, what's happening and, you know, how the chief of police acts as if, you know, heavily armed people should be responding to protesters because they're on her street. I don't think she feels that way about heavily armed people responding to protesters downtown, but apparently on the street on which she lives, it's just fine for heavily armed civilians to be responding to protesters. And that's pretty fucked up of you, Chief. You fucking piece of shit. You need to go live somewhere else, Chief. In another fucking state, Chief. Maybe China. Maybe be happier there, Chief. Because this is what the people want to do. Okay? This is what they want to do. They want to come outside your house, and they want to dance, and they want to shout, and they want to let you know that they know where you live. And they want to let you know that they exist and that they're not going away, but maybe you should. And they want to let you know that you are the source of the problem, because all they're doing is banging a drum and dancing and screaming and singing and playing saxophones. Look at that, they got 3 saxophones going. Fuck yeah. These guys are so dangerous. Oh my God. They got a bunch of musicians. I see all kinds of instruments there. That is so cool. I love it. And again, this is what they're trying to stop from people from making happen. That's what the chief thinks that the Seattle City Council should be stopping people from making happen. Is people marching down the street, and then banging their drums and dancing. They think the city council should be able to stop that, and particularly for people that are in the know, you know, for public officials and other public personalities, most likely, like news people. But it looks like they're having a good time in Seattle. Glad to see they're enjoying this lovely evening. I hope you're enjoying this lovely evening also. If you're just joining us, my name's Mike. We do this every Monday through Friday at 7 p.m. Pacific time. So be sure and subscribe and set the notifications bell so that you don't miss out on anything. I have a couple more videos for you about COVID relief package and back to school fears and defunding the Seattle police. And that's about it. I also have this video, which you should probably see too. Hold on. Let's watch this for a minute. Uh-oh. Hold on. All right, let's see. Okay, we're marching. Everything. Yeah, that's fine. Yeah. Hello, caller.
How the hell y'all doing today?
I'm good. How are you doing?
Pretty good. I gotta tell you what. Big explosion in Beirut.
Yep.
It's got dirty fingers written all over it. I'm telling you what.
I'm hearing some things.
They're just trying to pull this off with some fireworks. Started it with some titanium blast materials. Horse shit. This is totally inside job. Israel's got their fingerprints all over it. And then they're going to try to say they're going to send aid. There's some dirty rats right there. They are some dirty rats, you know what I mean?
I'm hearing some things. We'll see. We're going to have to keep an eye on it over the next couple days and see what happens. It's going to be very important to pay attention to that particular story for sure.
I got a problem, Max.
Huh.
I've been licking boots, and I don't know what to do.
Stop.
Can you help me?
Stop.
I'm a boot licker.
Just stop. Stand up. If you stand up, you can't lick boot, can you? Stand up. Get off your knees. Get off your knees.
I like to taste the leather.
Yeah. Well, that's different. That's not a bootlicker. That's a foot fetish person, kind of a shoe thing. So that's cool. To each their own. If that's what you like, that's what you like. Go with it, baby. Go with it.
I don't want to squeeze in before you head out, but I'm going to give you a call tomorrow because I got some big important topics to cover, but I'll leave you to it. It's getting a little late.
All right. Thanks for calling.
All right, boo.
Okay, let's see. Okay, so again, we got Seattle on the march. I thought we saw, and we had Portland on the march also. It looks like there was a nice crowd there in Portland. And I wanted to make sure that you guys saw this video because it is very important.
Sometimes life can be a little overwhelming. Sometimes the weight of the world can be too much to bear. Sometimes you need to stop worrying and take a deep breath. Sometimes you need cannabis. Introducing Brightside, high-quality cannabis delivered right to your door. Brightside offers an extensive menu of strains and products to meet your needs. Choose the experience you want, and we'll send you the dankest herb, the real sticky icky. Some top-shelf marijuana. If you like what we send you, keep the whole jar. We'll even include some nugs for you to blaze. As part of Discovery, you'll get to try new strains and products. Side effects may include euphoria, increased appetite, uncontrollable giggles, elevated sensitivity to musical dopeness, and reduced anxiety. Tetrahydrocannabinol may also induce feelings of existential well-being and relentless optimism. With a Brightside subscription, you can get it once a month, once a week, or whenever you want. All at a price you'll like. And yes, this is a real company.
Do you know who I am?
You're the wizard.
Ask your doctor if cannabis is right for you. It probably is. Keep it Brightside.
That girl in that commercial makes me so happy. Telling you, there's Portland marching. There's Portland going on a walkabout. Told you. That girl, just that smile, how happy she looks, just makes me feel, always makes me smile from ear to ear. Need a girl just like that. If I could ever be so lucky. Let's see. Okay, so we got that video played for you. I know that was important information that I didn't want to slip by without you seeing, because you're not eating enough marijuana, and the simple facts are, you too can be happy. Happy. I'm happy. Hope you're happy too. Let's see. Okay, so we should watch a video about back to school fears, or let's see, about COVID relief package. I have another Lebanon explosion video, and I have this video about how marijuana is apparently the cure for everything, including marijuana.
A new study suggests using CBD could help people who abuse marijuana. Researchers monitored a few dozen people who have cannabis use disorder. That's when marijuana impairs their psychological, physical, or social functioning. Scientists found giving those patients CBD could possibly reduce the patient's pot use. The team says they used medical-grade CBD that was safe, and they saw no serious adverse effects during the study.
Man, my plants look way better than the ones they had there. Just seeing those plants makes me feel better. Okay, what's going on here with the red and blues and the people on the side of the road in Seattle? What's happening here? What's happening? What's happening? Something's happening. What's happening? What's happening? We see things happening here in Seattle. Got to keep an eye on this. That person looks very agitated, very animated. I'm telling you, it's this way. Why won't you listen to me? Do you speak English? That's where I always turn right away. Speaking of English? Let's see. Okay, so Portland does have a nice walkabout going on. Definitely some people on the move in Portland. Good work, Portland. Definitely some people on the move in Seattle. Love you guys. Alright, so let's see. What videos do we have left here? We have back to school fears. Ooh, COVID-19 back to school fears. And this is what the media is doing to the children. You know, I mean, like they weren't already filled with enough anxiety. They're just adding this over-the-top thing with the fucking, you know, the constant death toll and all this shit. You know, the kids, I just feel bad for people that don't really know quite